The Last Mile, written by Justin Jackson, narrated by Leara Morris Clark. The last mile is always the hardest. I'm soaked from the rain. My tires spit with every spin, speckling my face with mud. I turn right on 43rd and start pedaling up the hill. As it gets steeper, steeper than I like, cranks groan with every push, and so do my knees. I'm tired. There's no momentum going up this damned hill, no coasting. With every thrust, the incline gets steeper, harder and harder. I could stop. That's a scary thought. I could just pull over and rest. But if I sit, I don't get home. Home's my goal. That's why I'm pushing up this hill. I want to get home tonight. The dark is my deadline. I don't want to be out here pedaling after the sun goes down. The deadline drives me forward. It feels like eternity. But I finally get to my turn. Porch lights on. I climb that hill. It feels good now. I'm home. Almost every project is enthralling at the beginning and a grind at the end. The last mile is the hardest, but it's also the most important. It's where you finish. Wrap it up, ship it. You Have the Right to Think Things Through, written by T.K. Coleman. Here's a brief lesson in critical thinking. Concerning the truth of any given proposition, there are 3 possible stances one can take. Number 1, affirmation. I believe the proposition to be true. Number 2, negation. I believe the proposition to be false. Number 3, suspension of judgment. I lack sufficient evidence, knowledge, or data to confidently affirm or deny the proposition's truth. No matter what anyone says, you always have the right to take the time and space necessary to carefully evaluate the evidence before declaring yourself the friend or enemy of a particular belief. I don't know. As long as it's sincerely stated and isn't being used as an excuse to avoid the process of challenging yourself to think, is a valid position to take on any issue. There are a lot of axes to grind in this world, and nearly everyone wants you to be a part of their camp. It's good for their numbers and it helps their agenda. But none of that is more important than your right to form your opinions, ideas, and beliefs in your own time and on your own terms. That makes others uncomfortable, but that's their problem. If you really want to add value to the lives of those you care about, don't patronize them by treating them as if they need to be protected from the discomfort they may feel when you refuse to feign beliefs or make assumptions. The world is always better off when you exercise your right to think things through. Creativity is Saying No, written by T.K. Coleman. No single work of art is capable of meeting everyone's needs. The act of creating something is inseparable from the act of excluding something. In order for a thing to have identity, we must be able to distinguish it from other things. The ability to distinguish one thing from another is precisely what makes things useful. And yet, this is also what makes creativity so scary. In order to move an idea out of your minds and into the world, we must commit to specific forms and specific details. As long as our creative ideas remain tucked away in the safety of our minds, they can be whatever we imagine them to be. Once we choose to manifest our ideas in the physical world, however, we have to make concrete decisions that result in the exclusion of other options and opportunities. This is scary because it means that the act of creating is a sacrificial act. The actualization of one possibility requires the deferment, displacement, or dismissal of other possibilities. And there are going to be some people who are very critical or unhappy about the things you leave out. This is inevitable. If you want to make an impact, you have to embrace the fact that you're going to need to get specific. And once you get specific, you're going to pay a price. The critics will be there, so don't let their existence be an excuse for inactivity. If you're procrastinating your involvement in the creative process until you come up with some kind of project or idea that pleases everybody, you're wasting valuable time. You can't create something useful, beautiful, or interesting if you insist on everyone finding it useful, beautiful, or interesting.